Shall we go live? Hello, and welcome, everyone. My name is Konstantin. It's great. So this means your regular Friday live stream where we talk everything Nikon here. Today's a freestyle live stream, no topic. It's all about you. So ask me any photographic questions that you have, and I'll be happy to answer them. If you are excited about anything, let's say, that you're planning to buy around the Black Friday weekend, share your deals as well in a live chat. As Simon says to me that everything is fine, the audio and video is fine, which I always appreciate. That means that I've set up everything correctly, and we're not going to lose 5 minutes of me talking into the void, really, where no one can hear me. Let me check. For some reason, I don't have the real names now. I have the @ and then the nickname. So unfortunately, I can recognize your thumbnails. I'm not able to recognize some of the names, but I'm sure that if it's your first time here, welcome, and come join the live stream and the live chat as well, because there where all the main discussion really happens. And if you have any questions, put QQQ right in front of the question. It helps me to filter out the comments in the chat. Coffee fund is open. Unfortunately, I'm not drinking any coffee today. I'm a bit under weather, so lots of liquids for me, so lots of tea with lemon and things like this. But if you would like to contribute, you can hit that button as well. Hello, Colin Murphy, Robert M., Nick Harrison, Michael Reed, Thomas Berner, Cruiser 40, Colin Brahma, Simon Ma, Personal Lehman, Andy Hater, Simon H., John Rayleigh, Richard Hovland, Warren Devine, Jay Blue, Russell VK, Roland. Yeah. So it's so weird. I don't have the real names. I only see @ and then someone's nickname. So sorry if I don't recognize you today. So it's Pete Gazzola, Paul Chorton, Terence Allens. Sorry, missed you last week in the shop. All the High Angler, Sudeep, Seth in the chat. Seth, would love to see you in a couple of weeks. I know that we may not see you, but hopefully if you can make it to the store, we would love to catch up. I know you arrive into London quite late, but look, we're here. We would love to see you in the shop. Joe McNally is coming, as far as I know, so we are all excited to see you all. Thank you very much, Jay Blue. He says, happy Nikon Friday. Hope you're feeling better. Thank you very much. It suddenly got cold in the UK, and I think that's the reason, so we all get out and we all like to wear T-shirts and shorts in any weather in the UK. If you lived in London and you've done the clubbing and you see the kids going to the nightclubs, kids, obviously, over 21, going to the clubs and just wearing T-shirts and, it's like in 0 degrees, humid weather and things like this. So I would love to feel young again, and that's why I got out without wearing anything warm and I got cold, basically. But I am here. My voice is okay. I might have an occasional cough, but that happens. Let's look at your comments in the chat. As I say, today is discussion about you, really. So if you have any photographic questions, do please ask me. Obviously, if you want me to talk about film for 30 minutes or so, you can do that as well. All right, so let's see if you have any questions in the chat already. So Michael saying hello to everyone from cold Cumbria. Thomas is in Hamburg. Cruiser 40 is in Oz. Fantastic. Which part of Oz are you in? Colin Brahma is in New Zealand. Also quite far away from us. One day I will make it there. Simon Ma is in Toronto. He said, thanks again for having this wonderful weekly discussions. Much appreciated. I learn a lot. Thank you very much. We try to vary them. So generally, like with Gray, we like to discuss, different topics, like how you get into photography, things like this here, and share the stories. I would like to do, a newsy one. To be honest with you, there's not many news been out, unfortunately. The only one that I'm personally excited about, that Voigtland announced 28mm f2 Apple lens. So that one is coming soon, priced about £699 or so. And it's going to be, in terms of image quality, in line with 35 Apple and 50 Apple that what Voigtland have. And those are very very sharp lenses. 50 Apo is one of my favorite lenses, just because of that special rendering that it has. So yeah, I am looking forward to try it. And obviously we have 28 f2 f1.5 that Voigtlander released early this year or late last year. I don't remember now. This one is exciting as well. So hopefully we can review those side by side. Speaking of reviews, we're gonna have hopefully 18-300 Tamron review out either on Sunday or Monday in the next few days. We will have a second version of this video review coming, but not from me and Becky, but from Chloe and Lila. Hopefully that video will come out a bit later, and that will be a review of the same lens, but coming from different people and the way they use lenses. And I think it's going to be an interesting conversation to be had. So definitely, once that video is out, I would love you to share your thoughts and support our new members of our YouTube cast. So, you know, I'm excited about this. Then we have 17 to 180 in the lineup. We will review, I think our next filming day is on 5th or 6th of December. We will be reviewing the DX lenses, the 16 to 50 and 35 macro, and we still have 24 to 70 Mark II to review. So there's a lot of lenses to review before the end of the year. We're all excited. It's busy time, obviously, in the shop. There's a Black Friday promotion. Nikon just landed heavy deals in the UK. So the Nikon Z8, for example, is 2799. So that's a good deal for that camera, in my opinion. There's a bunch of deals. So it's basically additional discounts on top of the winter savings, which is nice to have. So that started already. It's going to run through Black Friday and into December as well. You know, they're better deals now than they were before. So definitely, if you are looking to buy yourself a new camera or a lens, perhaps, those are good options to have. So obviously, in the shop has been extremely busy in run-up of Black Friday. So guys are really tied up doing that. All right, let's look at more of your comments in the chat here. Old Higher Angler says, good morning, Con, and everyone here in the chat. The Videotrox Z mount 35mm 1.7 DX lens on sale on Amazon for $133. Make it almost too attractive to pass up. Both Videotrox lenses are exciting. But the Videotrox just announced 85 1.4 full frame lens as well, which is quite exciting. I think it's about as well as something like $600. So very interesting. We're waiting for Nikon to release 85 1.4. We also are currently reviewing a DX lens from a third-party manufacturer. It's not a Videotrox. It's a third-party manufacturer, and it's a DX lens, prime lens with a very wide aperture. Can't tell more. It's a secret yet. It hasn't been announced yet, but it's in our hands now, and we are looking forward to sharing that with you as well. Happy Black Friday, says Andy. Good to see you, Andy, as always. Good morning, Jim Orsetti. So yeah, I don't know, Jay Blue. He says we are seeing the ads and then names too. I guess it's something that YouTube has done. I'm not sure why it is, but before I used to see your real names, and now just see your nicknames. So I know Seth, but at the moment he's, let's say, on my chart as at Last X Witness. I know this because I know his nickname, but if let's say if I wouldn't know this, I would say, well, this person looks like Seth, but on the thumbnail, but I'm not 100% sure. So weird thing, but hopefully we can figure that out later on. So Build Platte is in Vienna. Fantastic. I love Vienna. I fly there. My wife is Slovak, so I fly to Vienna and then we take an hour drive to Bratislava. That's what we normally do. So I've been to Vienna 2-3 times a year easily. So like the place. And Lomography European office is in Vienna as well. So I'm looking forward to going there one day. JG Cruz is in Paraguay. Fantastic. Rigetti is, I am late for a date. Okay. Hello, Conan and everyone else at Sunny East in US. Greg Lohan says, I am looking forward to adding Voigtlander Z-mount 28mm f2 Apo lens to my other Voigtlander lenses, which it's released in January. So I'm avoiding other purchases before then, despite the deals. Speaking of deals, if you are looking for Voigtlander native mount Z lens, there's a 10% discount right now during Black Friday. So 10% on all Voigtland and Z-mount lenses on Grace Always Means to store. Check this out. I know there's at least one person who was waiting for Black Friday to buy 50 f1 lens. Yeah. The discount is on now, so I would definitely suggest to do it right now. I don't know, maybe that 28mm f2 up or the code will work on that pre-order. Have a look at that. Try it, see what happens. So it could be another way to save 10% on the lens that hasn't been released yet. I haven't tried on our website, so do check it out if you want to. Okay, we finally have questions in the chat. Again, today we are basically freestyling, so it's our weekly catch up together. So if you have any questions, any photographic questions, any Nikon related questions, please fire away. Let me know in the comments. I'll be happy to answer what I can. Simon asking, do you process your raw files often? And if so, which software do you use? And is there another you have not tried but want to? Personally, don't like subscription apps. Well, Simon, to be honest with you, I'm on Lightroom. I have a photography subscription, which is about £10 a month, including VAT. Maybe it's gone up now. Maybe it's £12 a month. I'm not sure. Need to check my credit card statement. But that includes Photoshop and Lightroom. And at the moment, this is what I use. All my library is in there. I use it for my I use Photoshop a lot for some other things I do. But for my stuff, generally, it's Lightroom. Obviously, I have experience with working with Capture One, and you need to know Capture One if you do a lot of assisting for studio photographers, especially in fashion and editorial type of shoots. So I do have experience with this, but kind of Lightroom where it's at. I also use Negative Lab Pro plugin, which is basically a film scan conversion tool, and it's a plugin for Lightroom. So unfortunately, because I like to convert my scans through that, I'm tied up to Lightroom at the moment. So you can, as I say, this difference. NX Studio, I guess, is a good option if you're Nikon user, obviously, especially if you're shooting with Nikon ZF, because of the new noise, the grain setting, it's much better implemented in NX Studio compared to Lightroom or Capture One. So in terms of this, this is my answer, but everyone is different. Whatever works for you, I would say choose that. As I say, some people don't like subscriptions at all, and I understand that. It's totally a viable thing because everything becomes a subscription nowadays, which is I find ridiculous. At the same time, Lightroom used to cost about £120 or so on its own for which would be basically a yearly release. So that basically, when you pay £10 a month and you have Photoshop throw in, it's kind of you spread the cost you pay in installments effectively. Obviously, you have to upgrade, because if you stop paying, your software no longer works. But if you are using it, that's absolutely fine. I think if I find one day that I'm not using Lightroom anymore, maybe I'm not doing photography, who knows, then yes, I would definitely have to figure out how to migrate my library to something else, so I don't have to pay subscription. But the way I organize my library is by year, month, and then the date with a specific description of a shoot. So plus, metadata and things like this. So overall, I think the folder structure will stay the same. It's probably the keywords and things like this that become a little bit trickier. So, but a lot of these type of softwares now have migration kits that would allow you to move one library to another library. So hopefully that answers your question. Let's see. Do we have more questions here? So I'm just going to highlight Simon's question in the chat while I'm looking for another one, because I forgot. Greg says, before you went live, the real names appeared, but that changed when it got started. Okay. So could be our software that's causing the issue. I need to look at it, but last week was fine, wasn't it? So it's interesting. So Pompey 357, thank you. What's 3518 with 35 1.4? What's your peak? My peak is 3514 because I like character over clinical sharpness. 3518 is sharper. 3514 is will have, in my opinion, better bokeh with more character. And it's definitely, if you like your character lenses, I think 50-1.4 and 35-1.4 both are very good options from Nikon. So with while still being modern, with a less modern look compared to the S35 1.8. So that's my answer. Hopefully, you know, at the end of the day, the advice there is always come and try both of them, see what you like the most. But I would say, again, 5 years ago, maybe when I wasn't into character lenses, I would go for 35 1.8 because it's the sharpest. Nowadays, I do like the characteristics of the lens more. Doesn't matter focal distance. I don't want them to look the same. I need them to have certain feel. That's the thing. And again, it's all very subtle. It's not a massive difference in terms of character between the two lenses. But yeah, 35-1.4 has this kind of modern sharpness with a bit of vintage look to it. So that's what I kind of like about those releases. So that's why I personally would love to see 85-1.4 from Nikon. I think we definitely have a gap there since the other 35 and 50-1.4s were released. Simon is asking if you scan your film negatives, is it really film anymore? Yes, Simon. It's one of the things where you have a political debate, and some person tries to explain the differences and go details, and some being populist. You know what I mean? So this is the thing. You do scan your negatives. Yes, I would love to print in the darkroom ideally, but they're different workflows to different things. There's a reason why they shoot on, let's say, some movies are shot on digital and then being transferred on film to get certain characteristics to it as well. So there's a lot of it to do. So it's not exactly one medium over another. But yes, if you shoot film, it doesn't mean that you have to live in 1960s and not have mobile phone and don't have internet connection and things like this. If you see what I mean, we can choose something we want to shoot because it gives a different look. And let's be honest, it does give different look. It does give different character to the image, and that's what people choose. Specifically, that's the thing. There's no argument of film being, let's say, easier to shoot than digital or something like this. Or let's say, what gives you perfect. As I say, one of the things, I have a lab. I have a photo lab, right? So I run the photo lab, and we offer prints. And scans, and we do just get scans basically ordered most of the time, unless it's developed only and person will scan it themselves. But overall, scan is like a part of it because, yes, unfortunately, we live in the digital world nowadays. So once that being shot has been transferred to digital, and then it can be shared, and it can be manipulated as well to a degree. But it's one of the things where film looks so different from digital that if you want a digital to look like film, you got to spend a lot of time. That's the thing. Because a lot of those film presets that you see online, people recommend, they don't look like film. They call it Portrait 400. They don't look anywhere like Portrait 400. That's the thing. But thanks for asking this Simon question. I know it's more of a I know this type of questions. They do come up all the time. But yes, it's one of the things. Yes, if you do one thing, that means you have to switch to the whole lifestyle of this. Yes, then yeah, we wouldn't have those live streams. I was thinking, can I live stream on film? No, we can't. Thank God for technology. Thank God for digital here. Okay, moving on. Rick Getty says, I hear the Viltrox is coming out with 85 1.2 full frame. Which one is it? Sorry, 85 or the other one? Because 85 1.4 is on Nikon Rumors. So that's what I saw. So Andy says, yeah, I'll use Lightroom mostly, $10 a month subscription, grandfathers into the old price. Yeah, I think so. I think mine got just bumped very recently, but I could be wrong. Warren DeWin says DxO version 9. Any thoughts? Haven't used, last DxO I used was about 3-4 years ago. So I'm not sure what version. I think it was version 6. It was fine back then. Again, not really, like I play with bits of software for about a day just to check out to see what it's like, but with all those things, once you get used to something and then once it works and you're happy with the results, you kind of stick with this. But yeah, a lot of people using DxOs as far as I know, so if people using it, means it's a good software, definitely. Simon says Affinity is free now, Canva bought it, but I'm not sure how much I trust the company with my data. Yeah, so I have Affinity, the Photoshop, whatever they call it, and I have their version of Illustrator, whatever they call it. I think I pay £35 each for real licenses. Still have them. Illustrator I use, the Affinity, whatever they call it again, Publish, something like this, for all the vector type of things, basically logos and things like this. It's good to not to pay monthly subscription because I will use it once every 6 months and that's all I need. The Photoshop thing, I played with it. Because I have subscription to Photoshop and I know how to use Photoshop, I'm happy with Photoshop, what it does. In terms of Canva, I can tell you that I run several businesses and we have subscription to Canva on all of them for very simple reason. When you need to mock up any promotional material, it's just, it's much easier to do it in Canva. When we first got Canva, Grace got Canva, I didn't like it because it looked like a kind of a more improved version of Microsoft Paint, if you see what I mean. But it's kind of starting to use it more. All our thumbnails were done in Canva because it's much easier than using Photoshop for something like this. When you need to get things done really quickly and they don't need to look perfect, then something like Canva does the job. Now, in terms of data, it's obviously, this is an ethical issue and absolutely agree with you. The problem is everyone is using our data. Again, it's not saying that it's, that is good or bad, but basically everyone is using our data. It's basically part of being digital nowadays, unfortunately. At the end of the day, everyone's personal choice, how much our data we want the companies to use. That's the thing. But yeah, Affinity is very capable. If you have time to learn the tutorials, because it works slightly different from Photoshop, and they try to make it very close to Photoshop interface, so it's much easier to switch. It's a very capable bit of software, absolutely. So, and as Simon says, it's free now, so which is absolutely amazing. It's when Nikon used to have the Nik software plugins, remember those times, and Google bought them. And for a moment, this Nik software was free. And then I think once DxO bought Nik software from Google, then they started to charge subscriptions again. So take it while you can, while it's free. Absolutely. Paul says, when your Lightroom sub goes up, worth looking at yearly payment as a cheaper in the long run. I agree with you, especially if you're using it. If you don't use the software, then yeah, it's not worth having a subscription. If you use it on a daily basis, it kind of pays for itself. That's the thing. I use Photoshop, Bridge, and Lightroom for my businesses, and they basically being used on a daily basis. So paying £10 a month, including VAT, which you claim back, it's pretty good. It's pretty good deal for what it is, in my opinion. Obviously, another thing like Premiere Pro and Illustrator, how often do I need to use it? Then maybe you can rent them for a month. But let's say I'm now relearning basically DaVinci Resolve because I got a free version. Well, A, it's free, and B, you get a professional version when you buy a Blackmagic camera, which I own. So I'm not paying Premiere subscription because why would I pay £20 a month if I already have a bit of software? So I'm kind of using that, and I don't use it as often as needed. And Illustrator, say, Affinity software replaced that for me as well. Marvin has a serious question here. He says, is microcontrast real? Is 3D pop real? Are lenses with fewer elements better in regards to this? Marvin, they can be as real as you want them to be. All those things are subjective, and you may see them or you may not. It's the same as taking picture with the iPhone or taking picture with with a full frame camera or medium format camera, and showing it to someone who is not professional photographer or enthusiast photographer. Let's say my wife, for example. So she probably wouldn't know the difference. She wouldn't tell me, oh, this image looks, she would just look at whatever image she likes, looks nice to her, and she would choose that. So with those things, we as photographers, we're looking for those things. The rendering, yes, definitely different. Again, as I say, micro contrast, it can be there. You can see it or you may not. The more lenses you try, the more subtle differences you start to see. That's for sure. How quantifiable they are, this is a different story. That's the thing. Again, this is subtle, but is the same as, let's say, have you ever read the hi-fi reviews? A review of an amplifier, and they would tell you, they're going to talk about the treble and the sound, and how it feels and how musical it is and things like this. If you're going to play the same song on this amplifier and different amplifier to a person who never listened to a hi-fi expensive gear, they will know the difference, so that's the thing. So with those things, I would say, that for me, definitely, you could see those characteristics, like, let's say, Voigtlander, for me, lens like 40, let's say, 1.2 or 51. So for me, they have this kind of interesting rendering to them where you got the barrel distortion, which kind of, creates the vignetting around, right? And it brings the subject to the front. So it almost starts to look more three-dimensional. It's not a micro contrast thing. It's just kind of the way the characteristics of the lens work, that it makes the kind of subject pop a little bit as long as it's centered. Now you got Apple lenses, which are modern lenses. There, I would, the rendering is very different as well, but also micro contrast is very interesting to me, because it definitely looks more modern, but at the same time, you can notice that micro contrast is very different from Nikon lenses, things like this. Again, is it real or not? You may see it, you may not. Everyone is different. I mean, I want to see people in the chat to see what their take on this. This is mine. What's more quantifiable for us is maybe discuss things like vignetting, chromatic aberrations, sharpness, because you can see them on the image straight away, and you can see them and you can say, well, this lens particularly is better on this. But those are kind of globally and universally applied. I don't think you can apply 3D pop or micro contrast universally to all lenses, if you see what I mean. That's my thoughts on this, but definitely please let us know in the chat, because it's an interesting topic. As with everything, like I say, hi-fi or lenses, when we start to talk about the feels, so it's all about the feels, how you feel about this lens. Some people can call it a snake oil sales, but for me personally, I do like to know how the lens renders more than, let's say, how it feels in hands and things like that, because the image quality is what I look for, and sharpness is not what I call image quality. Is overall the image, how it renders, and that's why kind of nowadays I look into more character lenses, maybe with a simply designed, but something that I can put this lens on and I know that I can get that particular look I'm looking forward to. Because a lot of modern lenses nowadays, they look the same. That's kind of my issue with a lot of modern lenses, but as I say, certain things we can quantify and other things we can't. We're not trying, in our reviews, we're not trying to be as technical, because we're not catering for the spreadsheet crawlers, let's say this, and chart crawlers. If you want those MTF, MFTs, whatever charts, they're available everywhere. That's the thing. And I know different people look at it differently, but that's where we're coming from. We want to share with you our thoughts on the lenses from what we like about this. So, that's the thing. But there's so many technical reviews that you don't need to, watch us for this particular thing. You can watch us for actually our impressions about these lenses. So, next question, let's have a look. J Blue says, click that like button. Thank you very much. I'm going to have a sip. And thank you very much, Kirill. He says Koffee with a K. That's the right spelling, by the way, just like Mortal Kombat. As I say, Roland says, love the flare from 51.8D. I do love 51.8D. 51.8D, I'll tell you the story, was the first Nikon lens I purchased from Grayson, Westminster in my, I think, first or second week of working at Grayson, Westminster. So that's 2008, remember? I paid a whopping £75, including VAT, for a brand new 50mm lens. I think it was £89 and I got a staff discount. So £75 for 51.8D in 2008. £75 nowadays, just looking at the price of the lenses, doesn't look like a lot of money. That's the thing. I still have that 51.8D. It's absolutely fantastic lens. I love it. I love 51.4D. I like all those AFD lenses, to be honest with you. I do have, at the moment, 51.8, 35 f2D, 28 f2D. So those three I have, and I have 85 AFG. Not the D one, but I do have 85 AI as well, so manual focus lens. All fantastic lenses, all have this interesting rendering. And again, none of them would be considered sharp in today's standards. Surprisingly, I still take images with those lenses, and they look fine to me. That's the thing. And that's the perception. All of this is relative, let's say this. Okay. Thank you, Simon. Yeah, it's all right. It's all right. We I get offended. No, I'm not, but it's those type of questions. Yeah. So if we should film and then we transfer it and scanning it, it's a normal question. Always makes me laugh. But yeah, definitely. Like a cat when the hair goes up. Yeah, that's what it is. All right, let's look at the Greg's question here. What's your preferred film scanning methods? I'm digitizing film with a Z7 and on a stand, but I find it clunky. Thinking of Nikon AS2, 35mm, Valo Easy 120, and 35 for 120 film. Okay, so Greg, I run a photo lab, right? So we have professional scanners. So we have Noritsu, the top HS 1800 and LS 600 scanners, which are considered to be industry standards. We have a Frontier SP 3000, which is again top of range Frontier scanner. So that's what we use in a commercial setting where we have to go through a high volume of scans. Now, for home scanning, I would say the kind of set and forget method would be to get a Nikon scanner. I personally have Coolscan 9000. I have 3 of them. 2 I use for the business. 1 is in my house. And all my photography, my medium format is being scanned through this, and output from that is absolutely amazing. Now, if we go into mirrorless or DSLR scanning, yes, get a good stand. Ideally, you may want to even get one of those, the photo enlarger stands. So something that is very robust and can hold your camera. Valoy stuff is amazing. I think as a value for money, I definitely recommend Valoy. There are more expensive options. They're amazing, but you're going to pay a lot more. They're cheap options. I personally think that Valoy sits right in the middle, and in terms of value, it's reasonable. The lenses become very important here. And for my particular setup, I went through a lot of glass. I tried Nikon lenses. The problem is basically softness in the corner. So you have to, even stop down to f11, f16s, you're going to get a bit of softness. So I ended up having GFX 100S with Pentax 645 lens, 200 f4 macro lens. That would give me the whole thing basically gives you a very flat scan with no softness in the corner. So that would be my kind of ultimate setup that I still have, and we still use it. For when I need to scan large format, that's what I would use as well. So the ES2 and ES1 adapters are okay. They are reasonable for basic, let's say, restoration of negatives, let's say, or scanning of the negatives. Potentially used for social media. They are not as good as something like Valois setup with a proper macro lens. So that's kind of my opinion. With the Nikon glass, as I say, you can technically get, like ideally you want to get an enlarger lens. So I forgot the term for it, but the one that renders really flat, it's got the term for it. But something like Schneider glass would be quite useful with via adapter or something like this. That would give you kind of the best results. So that would be my answer. Again, this whole setup could easily cost up to £1,000, and that's not including camera and the lens. That's the thing. But Valois setup, with the 120 and 35, would set you for about £300-400, I think. You would need to buy a LED light to go under. There's still a lot more development. There's automated scans nowadays available, so you can have your 35 mil kind of going through, like your camera takes a shot, it goes to the next one, it takes a shot, goes to the next one. Those cost over £1,000, those options. You can do that as well. The dust is going to be your main issue. So none of the manufacturers of those rigs figured out is how do we get rid of dust. Scanners have this digital eyes technology, which helps for scanning color because it basically gets rid of the dust. For black and white, it doesn't do this. The problem is, again, if you let's say have 10 shots of medium format, it's fine. You can do 10 shots, in a roll, and then you can retouch them. Once you need to scan your 35 mil, you got 36 shots, which might be full of dust, or it's quite a lot to go through. If you see what I mean. So I would say home setting is good at a low volume. If you're shooting, let's say, 5 rolls a week, you're not going to home scan. You're probably going to get your lab scanning it, and then you're going to scan specific shots, individual shots, separately. But as I say, for home scanning, I think kind of set and forget would be get a Coolscan 5000, a Coolscan 5 for 35 mil scanning, get Coolscan 9000, or Hasselblad if you want to for medium format scanning. It takes longer, but it's got digital IC. The colors are beautiful. You can leave it there to scan, leave it for a few hours, come back, etc. So I think the highest resolution I do from my Mia 7 negatives, I set it to the highest setting. It takes about half an hour per shot. I'll go have a coffee, come back, change it, go to another one. But again, it's not very fast, if you see what I mean. All right, next question. Nothing ranges as film does, says Rick. Thank you very much. I appreciate this. Andy says, DP Greg Fraser shot June with unique hybrid digital to film digital process to achieve specific aesthetic blended sharpness of digital with organic texture and softness. Yes, exactly. And a lot of productions now starting to use this, which is quite interesting. But yes, that's the thing. And you would think, well, why won't they just apply digital grain to digital footage? Well, I guess because it doesn't look as good as actual film. That's the thing. Speaking of which, Reflex Lab, it's the company in Hong Kong. They do respooling of film and stuff. They offering this transfer your digital images onto film service, which I want to try. I need to just select it. So you send them off 36 files, and they send you a roll of E100, I think. So they project your digital images onto the film, and then they send the raw film to you. Very cool. I want to try it out. It looks like fun. So I don't know how good it is. Will you get the character? But definitely something on my list to do once maybe holidays kick in and kick in, and I'm going to have a bit more spare time. I need to actually find 36 digital images I like, and then just send it over to them. And that sounds like a really cool options there. Kirill says, Con, have you found your perfect camera bag for Nikon equipment? It's endless quest from my experience. Bags. Haven't bought any bag for a very long time. However, Normally peak design, the urban one, whatever, 20 liters is something that I take with me on the shoots when we're filming with Becky. Overall, when I am, let's say, taking camera with me on a daily things, I generally have either my FM3 or Leica, and those go with a normal slim bag. I just got a Uniqlo bag. It's not even any fancy peak design or any other brand. So as long as the camera prime lens can fit, it's fine. It's not super robust, but I don't really need it to be. Most of the time when I do street photography, I have my camera in a large pocket of my puffer jacket, so that's good enough for me, but I do have a think tank rolling case where I used to do location shoots, and sometimes you need to bring some lighting with you, with the stands and things like this, so that can get big and heavy quite easily. So rolling bags are quite nice. I would say, depending, if you're looking to carry a lot of gear, then definitely have a look at the different design options depending on what you're trying to do. There's lots of hiking bags, like Shimoda does hiking bags. Peak design is obviously, quite well known. Again, some people love it, some people don't. That's entirely up to you. Peak designs are very practical. Maybe not that sexy looking bags in my opinion, but very practical. Domkes are perfect, reporters bags. I think they still will come back into style, so you got Billingham as fancy options, so many options, but overall at the end of the day, buy what you think suits you. As I say, when I go on holiday as well, I don't want a camera bag. Unfortunately, I just want a bag that practical and looks good, that can carry other things with me, but generally, as I say, I try to travel light. I'm carrying prime lenses, they're normally in my pockets and things like this, so really depends. But Kirill, if you share with us what particular bags you're looking at, let's say for what particular use. I'm sure our photographers in the chat, which is all of you guys and gals, will share your preferences. G. Morsetti says, I don't normally buy third-party batteries, but small rig version of Nikon NLC USB-C charging batteries are pretty sleek. I saw those. They look cool. Never tried those. I've got a small rig V-mount battery, which I use sometimes on my Blackmagic camera, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I guess if you're looking at third-party manufacturers, I think small rig in last 5 years definitely made a name for itself, which we don't, which tells us that it's made in China, but it's a quality stuff, if you see what I mean. And I think they're around a Black Friday deal at this moment. Andy says 99% of the cost of software is my time to learn and perfect my approach for using them. Absolutely agree with you, because at the end of the day, if you know how to do it, that's the best way to do it. And, then you don't spend too much time. In my opinion, you don't want to spend too much time editing. So you want to learn how to edit quickly. That way you can spend more time shooting and enjoying your photography overall. Michael, W6193. Sorry, Michael, I probably know you, but I only have a nickname right now. He said, I'd like a Z7 Mark III to make my upgrade from my intro to full frame Z5. Any chance we will get in the future? Michael, fortunately, I don't know. I think we've done with the announcement for this year. We will see Z7 Mark III. As I say, we had a chat about this about 2-3 weeks ago, and there were so many different takes, because some people say, it needs to have a downgraded resolution, it needs to be 33 megapixels instead of 45, or some people suggest it needs to be a ZR7 camera, which means the video camera. Why I don't agree with those takes is very simple, because I feel like that's not the Z7 III anymore. It's just a new camera. Why won't we just give it a new name then, instead of calling it Z7 Mark III, because Z7 was always kind of a landscape portrait camera, with a high dynamic range. So that's kind of was the main approach for this. As I say, I personally would love to see a bump in resolution to keep it low and slow. But again, I think my desire of that goes against current Nikon approach of where we want to put speed as a priority. At least that's what's coming from a lot of Nikon people I talk to. So that's why I think, my version of Z7 III, it's not what Nikon is going to release eventually. Will they release this camera? Well, I think eventually we'll see one. I would love to see, I guess, that camera and Z90, Z500 as well. Both would be good. Okay, let's look at more of your comments here in the chat. Jim Arset says, DaVinci Resolve is incredible and super powerful application for free. Plan on upgrading to studio version when I can. It's great. I love what Blackmagic is doing. I own Blackmagic camera. I owned Blackmagic cameras before. As I was sharing with you, I am considering getting Pixis 12K at some point for the project I have coming up next year. I'm also considering Nikon ZR, and as I said before, they're very different cameras, but my heart tells me buy Blackmagic. My mind tells me ZR, cheaper, autofocus, Blackmagic RAW. So technically it's a win-win with ZR, but still that 12K sensor, Pixis 12K, is absolutely great. All right, Remy says, good day, quick questions at 5.2 versus Z6 III for beginner. Is the difference in dynamic range that big difference? Then how useful will the top screen will be a way of practical stack sensor? Z6 III, I would say for photography, Z5.2 is absolutely fine. Z6 III is going to be a little bit better, a little bit faster, but overall I think kind of if you need a video functionality, that's where it's at. So if you don't, Z5.2 does, I would say, maybe 90-95% of what Z6 III does. So that's the thing. Top of the screen, I do like top of the screen because I do change, sometimes like the way I change things is by looking at the camera instead of looking like this. Again, that's a personal preference. I wouldn't say one is over another, but all my cameras generally would have a top screen. So it's just coming from even, let's say, D700, D300 series. Simon says, please remember to hit like button. Everyone to promote Corn on YouTube. Thank you very much. I appreciate it, Simon. It's always good to have to hit that like button because every now and then new people will join us. All right, Jim Marseille says, you shoot with Zeiss lens and you'll see microcontrast at its best. Absolutely agree with you. I do like Zeiss lenses. Don't have much experience with them, but I do have a prime micro f-mount Zeiss lens. And I need to bring the show to you because I don't know if they made many, because once I tried to find the information on this lens, I couldn't find anywhere. But they are amazing lenses. I'm not sure what they're doing with their new lenses. I want to try those. But the Leica glass made by Zeiss as well is quite well known. So definitely there's something about them that people appreciate. Absolutely. Simon says, audiophiles have a thing called golden ears, where reviewers assert that they can hear the difference between different interconnecting Ethernet data cables. Snake oil salesmen, a lot of them. Oh yes, those cables for 100 pounds. Been there, done that. No, my cables were about 30 quid. Okay, they weren't 10 pounds. I spent more. I bought into that snake oil, but at the same time, my hi-fi system is not very high end. It's still better than but I've got a Riga, the preamp amp turntable. That's hooked up to Kef LS50s speakers. That is, like over the years I built this up. I'm very happy with those. Do I hear the difference? I would say yes. It's definitely sound is better than coming from my, let's say, Denon, the AV receiver. But yeah, I did spend a bit on cable, 30 quid. Okay, but it's fine. It's fine. It's once. I didn't buy it all at once. Still happy, but with those hi-fi things, they can get a lot more expensive. But the good news is that my hi-fi system, mine is about 10, 15 years old. I haven't had the urge to upgrade it yet. So yeah, that's good news. The only thing I've added is the streamer, so to stream from the phone and things like this, because not every now and then I'll open my, record and put the record on and read what's on the cover. But I do enjoy that as well. Uh, Guys, can we all define microcontrast, please? I want to see the scientific explanation of this, but there's a lot of forums discussions on that. Nikon says, always excellent discussion. Thank you very much, Nikon. I appreciate it. Simon loves his 51.4D. Fantastic lens. I agree with you. If we would have David, the wedding photographer, in the chat, he's got specific, he knows that some 51.4Ds are better than the other ones, so we need to ask him that question. CSC Photo in the chat, good to see you as well. Christopher Clark says, what do you think of Affinity editing software to replace right from Photoshop now that it's free? Sorry, Christopher, as I say, I don't use it as much. I think it's reasonable, but I'm a subscription guy, and you know, like for £10 a month, I do use it, so it's worth for me. But as I say, people in chat, please share. If you are using your Affinity software as your main software, how you getting on with this? Do let us know in the live chat, please. Okay, Warren Divine says 58.1.4. Any thoughts, Con? Ever standard better over standard 51.4? Well, 58.1.4 is beautiful character lens, and I personally think if you can afford one, and nowadays it's not that expensive compared to what it used to be, it's absolutely amazing. First thing what people care, you know, when the reviews came out, says it's not very sharp, is it? But the character is just through the roof, you know. When you say it's oozing with character, that is the lens. I think 51.4 is probably, if you're looking at modern autofocus Nikon lenses, it is the most the lens with the most character. So overall, Warren, you know, if you can afford 51.4, do buy it, because it's a beautiful, wonderful lens with a beautiful, beautiful rendering. So that's my opinion about it. Definitely over 51.4 any day. Now, if you're shooting with Z and you do video, that's where 51.4 Z would be better choice, because it will perform better for video type, follow focus type of things. Okay. Scanning. So CSC Photo says 52.8 MC has really cool film slide scanning accessory kit. Yeah, it's called ES2, or you could get the ES1 back in the day. And it says company called Negative Supply has scanning equipment which is expensive. Yeah, that's what I meant when it gets more expensive than Valoy. Yeah, this thing gets crazy. Again, technically, the best scans you can get nowadays would be with a digital camera, over the scan, unless you go with a drum scan, which is quite expensive. And if you don't want to get drum scans, let's say, or you don't have those imacons, yes, you are limited to a camera and a lens. So your camera effectively is a sensor, your scanning sensor, and your lens is the actual, what gives you the optical quality of that scan. So as I say, I've ended up with GFX 100S, which is 100 megapixel camera with a Pentax 645 200mm f4 micro lens, which is, for me, gave me the best possible scans I could achieve from my rig. So that's you know, but you know, it says different lenses, different setups, because again, at the end of the day, you need to get all those adapters if you want to go there. But a lot of people do recommend to get one of those enlarged Schneider lenses, because there would be a better, they basically designed to project the image onto a flat area, onto, say, on a photo paper. So that's what you want to have there. You're basically doing the same in a way, but instead of projection, you capture it. Nikon ZF with vintage Nikon AIS lenses with film simulations, Warren is asking. Good option. It's not the same as film. But I think, yeah, probably grain on ZF looks better so far. The best grain I've seen on digital cameras. Let's go down the chart, see what else we have. Simon says, my unedited photos shot with D800 on 51.4D feel like good quality film scans to me. I think it's mostly down to the lens, but I don't feel the need to add film filter at all. No, that's the thing. That's the thing. You know, like you don't need to do anything. And that's why, you know, when we take film photography, we're not it's like for some people it's like a trigger kind of thing, because they say, oh, I can put filter on it. No, everyone is different. Some people want to have that, some people don't want to have this. Like we've lived with digital files for so long nowadays. It's not a new thing that came in. We had digital for how long now? 30? No, I don't know. How long did we have digital now? Let's say from year 2000 would be 25 years, right? So it was earlier than that. But I'm just thinking when I've started in 2008, D300 just came out, right? So, and I'm talking about like more kind of when we started to use digital, because yes, we had D1 and things like this, and obviously we had digital cameras before, but I'm talking about, let's say, consumers, so probably D70, D100, that was probably the cameras would, aimed at consumers, so that would be what, 2003, 2002, could be wrong. So we had digital for a while now. We've used to have digital being digital and film having different characteristics. It's normal, that's the thing, and that's why, that's why I'm saying that if you want to shoot film, because yes, you can slap a filter on digital and think it looks like film. It's not. That's, but I am biased, let's be honest. So I'm not the right person to answer that question. I'm a film guy. Of course, I'm going to, say film is what I prefer. My preferred way of shooting, again. But I have my Nikon ZF ready to, to do any work I can throw at it. And he says, if you're a wildlife and nature guy, have big bag, currently Think Tank Street Walk Hard Drive 1.0, fantastic. Roland suggests Billingham 335 is a good daily carry. I've got Billingham Hardly Pro as well. Both are really good. I think did I manage to fit a laptop in it? No, iPad definitely went in there, but it's a good bag. I do like Billingham bags. Maybe not exactly a good hiking bag or, bag to have when you're sitting next to campfire, but for city, yeah, definitely. And Billingham 335 is, I think, a slightly large version. Very good bag indeed. Missy says, if Billingham made some decent shoulder straps to their bags, they would be amazing. Unfortunately, I think their budget ran over time. They got to adding strap to the bag. Yeah, Billingham is now becoming more luxury. It used to be a little bit more affordable, but Billingham nowadays being sold all over the world. That's the thing. Apparently, massive exports to China as well, from what I've heard. Simon says, I have low pro 500 AW for my 150 to 600 mil lens. Plenty room for bodies and other lenses. If you just pick it up, it'd be perfect. Exactly. And obviously, if you carry a lot of equipment and it's a backpack, make sure that your harness system is adjustable and you're not going to break your bag, or you're not going to be sore the next day. So that becomes very important. Roland wore his 550. Is it what, Billingham or after 20 years? Sounds good. The more photo bags I look and have, the more I like Think Tank. Think Tank is very practical. That's the thing. They're not exactly the best looking bags in the world, but they are definitely practical bags. That's for sure. As I say, the one I have, Airport something rolling case, is absolutely fantastic. It doubles up as a backpack as well, which sometimes useful when you not exactly can roll it all the time. When you have to carry it, it's sometimes good to have. Host Meter says Z7 III should be 60 megapixel landscape product portrait kind of camera, I think. Well, we're on the same page, that's kind of my, my wishful thinking. As I say, I think Nikon thinks differently, unfortunately. So, Microcontrast is a tiny contrast. Well, that's answered that question. Thank you very much, CSC Photo. Yeah, it's a good one. I like this. Yeah, that's the thing. Let's call Microcontrast to 3D Pop a snake oil. Who knows? But I do like that snake oil personally. So that's things like, being human being where, sometimes we think with heart instead of brain, where, like brain tells you that's not very practical or something, and heart tells you, well, it looks good. So that's the thing. And I do find myself that we are irrational as people. At least I know that, like rationality becomes like, for me, I come from the point where I'm rational to the things I don't care about. And then once I start to learn about those things and start to get deeper into that particular maybe hobby or something, then where things start to become irrational, because then you start to get preferences towards something that maybe is not exactly logical. And that's what I found with myself. So it's like, yeah, you get rational to the point you go deep into this thing. So, I don't know. Let me know, how are you as people? Are you a more rational person or irrational person? Do you vote with your heart or your brain in terms of your purchasing tendencies? Let's say this. So Marvin, using for his film scanning, he used Z7 Mark II and 50, and 105 MC lens, better image quality. He uses ES2 film adapter, and then Sensei Pro 62mm lens hoods, and then step down rings and correct extension. So quite a setup, and I hope you're enjoying it. It sounds like a good setup to have, and you don't need to buy extra adapters, let's say, to switch to different mount lenses. A microcontrast equals texture slider, microcontrast equals clarity slider. Overall contrast as well, probably. Who knows? Microcontrast equals image fidelity, more intermediate grays. Okay, that's interesting to say. Dixon Lou. Kirill says, my problem is you can't find one bag to rule them all. If you know what I mean, I have 3, but they all have flaws, especially if some occasional back pain. Well, it's the same with cameras in a way. We can't really find the cameras that do it all. We, especially when you're into photography for very long, you end up with several cameras, isn't it? So that's the thing. As I say, like, I have my FM3A, but I also have my Leica M4P. And there's specific ways where I take my Leica for certain things, and I take my Nikon for certain things, and I love both cameras to bits, but the thing about this is they're not perfect cameras. The same with Nikon ZF. Fantastic camera. It's not exactly, but for some people, and it's not exactly fantastic for a lot of people. If you look at the all-rounders, that's the thing. I guess Z6 III probably is the best all-rounder, but again, some people say I missed the resolution, and that's where ZA comes in. So as you see, that's the thing. It's very difficult to find the perfect anything in this world. That's the thing. But yeah, if you got a few bags, then yeah, you just use them for different things, I guess. But, there's always room for a new camera, or a new bag, or a new lens, especially with Black Friday coming up. All right. Jim Arcetti says, I share your love for D lenses. Thought you owned 2035 2.8. I had 28 to 70 2.8 D. I played with 2035. I own 17 to 35 2.8, which came after, replaced the factory 2035. Again, brilliant lens. I remember my friend, when I was in New York, before I bought my F100, my friend had F100 and 1735, and he was I think shooting protest or something like this, and it was like perfect reporter's lens. And I looked at it, and it was my first time I saw a 17mm on the camera, and I was like, oh wow, this is so wide, that's so cool. So that was my impression. But yes, 2035 came before that, great lens. Had to play with it at Grazer Westminster, amazing. Obviously, I think it's AF lens, isn't it, if I'm not mistaken? So it's not AFS yet, and then 1735 became AFS, and a little bit chunky because of that. Beautiful lens, again, good rendering. I do love those D lenses. For their neutral rendering, the G-type lenses became more contrasty, in my opinion. GPH364 says, microcontrast I would define as very smooth transition to tonalities. Interesting take as well. Nigel says, I use the V700 Epson scanner to scan 120 in 4x5. I would say the larger the negative, the better those flatbed scanners are. I do have a V700 myself. I use it for large format scans, not very often, but again, I would say that DSLR scan would be better. That's the thing. But yeah, V700, still have it. It's about 10-15 years old. I haven't fired it up for a very long time, actually. I need to maybe check it out if it's still working. I'm sure it's still working. Thank you very much, Mike. I appreciate that. All right, let's see. We are Oh, it's been past an hour, so let's wrap up then. Let's do last, like, let's say 5-6 minutes. I'm just going to quickly go through the chat real quick. Hot Smith says, I got 51.4 pre-I, all metal. I love rendering. Fantastic. Robert Varnabil may go back to using his Pentax 6.7, and I'm telling you, you won't be disappointed. I have Pentax 6.7, and 105 2.4 lens Takumar practically lives on it. You just need to buy this. They have wonderful lenses. I have 55 and 90 as well, from what I remember. Definitely 55. I'm not sure if I have 90. I have 3 lenses. But 105 has been used about 99% of the time. It's just absolutely stunning. It's fantastic lens. And that's what you buy Pentax 6.7 for, in my opinion. But it's a big chungus. It's like you take a shot and just birds starting to fly everywhere in the forest. That's how loud it is. Robert says, I used my Z105 2.8 tripod and negative supply holder, light source to duplicate my slides. I was very happy with the results. Fantastic. Well, negative supply is not cheap, but it's definitely well made. CSC says, just saw the announcement of Ultrax 8514. Yes, so we've discussed that earlier. That's why we need the Nikon one as well, because this one's priced at $600. So Nikon, when announced one, it should be about $700-800 as well, and that would be interesting competition, I think, between the two. Andy says channel could use some likes. Thank you very much. Definitely give us some like as well. We just hit 30,000 subscribers as well. Thank you all for doing that. Chris says, do you insure your camera and which one you recommend? I would say if you're a professional photographer and you're shooting commercial gigs, you need to have your insurance for a very simple reason. Your equipment can get stolen, and you normally need to get public liability insurance as a part of that. So that's what it is. But if you are a hobbyist, that's entirely up to you, because depends on what you need, if you see what I mean, because normally this type of professional photography insurance products, the PhotoGuard, Dookie, and places like this, they do all this. They also do for hobbyists, where you don't need public liability. A lot of people I know also do through their home insurance, as long as you can add your equipment into that. But then you need to check with your home insurance for how long you're allowed to take your equipment away from your house, if that covers this. So different things. I would say, if you're a commercial photographer, you need to have insurance. It's just part of your part of your 5 a day. Yeah. So it's your job as your business. You need to have insurance. Especially if you're doing a lot of gigs. The way equipment can get stolen, then you out of it. The good example, Crystal Palace official photographer was shooting. Was it Euro or World Cup? What did we have this summer? In Germany. His equipment, his bag, 2 Z9s, a bunch of long lenses has been stolen in a train from one city to Berlin. Guy ends up with, basically losing about 15 grand, so if you won't have insurance, it won't be replaced. I mean, luckily they found that bag about 2 weeks later, but but that's a different story. But yes, you need to have this. If you are a hobbyist, this is entirely up to you. That's the thing. How much do you need it? What do you need it for, etc. So yeah, that's entirely your choice. Mizzy says, do you think we'll get 1.4 line primes anytime soon? Well, we're going to get hopefully 85 1.4, but it's not going to be S line, because the 1.4 line, if you look at 35 and 50, they're more character glass, and 1.8 S line is more kind of superior, all the sharpness, all the modern design you can get. Okay, so Simon says, my biggest photo challenge is that I'm an eclectic shooter. When I leave the car, I want to be able to shoot wildlife, macro, landscape, and abstract. Basically 25 kilo options in one bag. Been there, done that, hurt my back, never again. But yeah, I agree with you. Everyone is different, and yeah, as long as you can carry all this, and as long as you're using all this is absolutely fine, because at the end of the day, yeah, you kind of, if it's all been used, then it's worth your time, and it's worth the weight carrying. So, absolutely. Nowadays, I'm more like, I just get one camera, one lens, but I'm not a wildlife shooter. That's the thing. I'm not macro shooter. That's the thing. But yeah, if you get into that type of things get very heavy. Absolutely. Okay. I think this is a wrap. Thank you very much for everyone for joining me today. Always a pleasure to have you all here. We will see you next week. Next week is a Black Friday. So I guess we're going to talk a lot about Black Friday. If you have any good deals that you can share, photographic deals you can share with us, do let us know in the comments below. I don't know if I'm going to be alone or with Gray or someone else. We will find out. But in the meantime, thank you all. We will see you next week at the same time. All the best. Bye-bye.